Foray Show.
Good evening, everybody. It's so great to see you. We are on Turkey Day Eve, Thanksgiving Eve. I know you're all very busy, and I hope you take a time out because I have an awesome guest connected. We're going to get to know him. We're going to hear all about everything that he's doing. And you actually have the opportunity to go see him in person. So I cannot wait to bring him up. But first, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. We have an awesome sponsor that has been a part of the show since season 2, I believe it was. And season 2, they sent me a huge box of stuff. I've refreshed the stuff because it was so good I actually took part in it. So they are called Honey Stinger. Here's a couple of samples of their products. They've increased some of the flavors that they have and some of the different products they have. So Honey Stinger is a really good, like this one is a sports gel. So if any of you work out in the gym, you cycle, and you need something quick release energy, this stuff is awesome. They have caffeinated products. They have uncaffeinated products. The Stroke waffle is really, really tasty, and it has a good bit of protein in it. These obviously have caffeine. So there's 32 milligrams of caffeine from white tea extract in their products. They have strawberry, kiwi, and chocolate gels. That's these right here. 32 milligrams of caffeine from the green tea extract. And then they also have ginseng gels, which is 32 milligrams of caffeine from the cola nut extract. So Honey Stinger, it's organic wildflower honey, and it's a product of Brazil. You can go to honeystinger.com for 15% off today. So if you go to Honey Stinger, you sign up, you get 15% off. You know what, guys? You know what I'm thinking? These stuff pretty easily, right? Do you have an athlete? Do you have somebody that likes protein, a little bit of caffeine products, then maybe has a stocking hung by the fireplace with joy? Hey, they go right into the stocking. So you can get your Honey Stinger products at Amazon, Walmart, the Vitamin Shop, and for 15% off your entire order, go to honeystinger.com. That's honeystinger.com today and go get yourself some Honey Stinger stuff. I've already had my Honey Stinger, so I am wide awake, ready to go. I already have all my casseroles in the refrigerator. They're ready to go in the oven for tomorrow. It has been a go, go, go kind of day. So now is your break. Go pour yourself a glass of wine because I have a super, super cool guest connected with me tonight. His name is Michael Finn. Now, Michael Finn and I, we are former castmates. We worked on a movie together, and he is one of the most professional actors out there. He comes onto set well on time. He knows his stuff. If you want him married to the script, he's married to the script. If you need some improv from him, he's got improv for you. Like, he performs on film, television, and he actually has a leading live theater production that he's in right now. And so this theater production, it's Jacarius Johnson's presenting Set It Off. So Set It Off was a movie several years ago, and now they're touring it across the country as a live on-stage performance. It's based on the hit iconic movie from the same name, Set It Off. Fans will get to relive the ride that made them love Set It Off, the movie. But this time around, they'll experience it live on stage. This is an absolute hit. They just wrapped in Los Angeles. I believe he's going to tell us about some of the other cities that you'll be able to catch him out. So catch him in. So without any further ado, I would love to bring our guest, Mr. Michael Finn, to the broadcast this evening. Good evening, Michael. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell us about Set It Off. What is it about? I never saw the movie, so you get to tell me brand new and fresh.
Awesome. So Set It Off is a movie about 4 girls who live in LA who struggle. You know, one worked in a bank and gets fired because the bank was robbed, and she's thought to be in collusion, which is a key word. And then another girl's brother gets shot for wearing a gangster hoodie, like a gang hoodie, out in what's called the Acorn Projects, AP. That's what the initials on the hoodie are. So he accidentally gets shot, even though he's not in the gang. And the four of them, the four friends, decide to start robbing banks and trying to get out of the hood, as you will. And I play the wonderful part that was played by John C. McGinley in the movie, which is Detective Strode. He's the main detective on the case, just transferred to LA, and he is just a no-nonsense guy who's trying to hunt these criminals down and eventually gains a little bit of heart. And I won't give away the ending in case anyone comes to see it. The ending in the movie, he sees Stoney on the bus with the money, and they just exchange a look, and she rides off into the sunset. We've definitely done our own little twist with the ending, and it's a lot of fun.
Very interesting. Okay, so between the theater production and the movie, so the ending is a little twisted from what the movie was. That really gives a lot of people that love the movie a huge incentive to get out there and go see it. What is there anything else that's a little bit different that you feel from watching the movie and now you're performing in the theater production? What else sparkles a little bit more live?
I think it's the culture and the era we live in now. I mean, the movie came out in 1996, and now we're living 25 years later. It literally was just the 25th anniversary of the movie, and we were performing it live, which was amazing. But culture has changed, and there's so many new things that have been brought to light, and racism has become very rampant. So with this particular production, it really shows how people can grow, people can evolve to accept each other, to see each other in a new light. Especially my character, who comes in very, very by the book, almost to the point where it doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing. If you do anything wrong, he's going to be on you. And then he starts to see like life's not equal and fair for everyone. So he starts to grow and change. And I think it's important that we all realize that we're not the same, but we're all here together. We're all human beings. We're all striving and fighting to survive in our own way. And if we just, instead of fighting and bickering or doing whatever and trying to push people down, lift each other up. That's what it's all about, is trying to help each other out to get out of a bad situation. And I think it's more relevant now than it was 25 years ago.
Absolutely. We have a viewer watching saying that he saw the movie. He said, I remember the movie, the times in which it was filmed in, not long after the Rodney King trial, and political winds changed under Clinton, the 90s.
The 90s.
So interesting how a lot of things have come full circle, and here we are so many years later. Tell us a little bit about some of the other actors that you're working with and the characters that they play. Who else is in there with you?
Sure. So we have the one and only icon, Debrat, playing Cleo, which was Queen Latifah in the movie, and she is absolutely killing it. We've been doing this show together since 2018 was the first run. I've been lucky enough to be in it all 3 years in succession, and her, my partner who plays the detective, Bakista King, and myself are the only three to make it through all the runs, which is amazing if you really think about it, with how quickly the industry moves to stay with one thing for that long. It's rare these days. So I'm very blessed. Latoya London has stepped in to play Stoney. She was on American Idol. She's an amazing vocalist, amazing performer. She gives so much on stage. She's great to work with. She's super connected. And we have a couple very, very close scenes that I just love doing because she's right there with you the whole way, no matter what's going on. The audience gets loud, they're screaming things at us, and we just stay with each other the whole time. Vanessa Simmons from, I believe it's called Growing Up Hip Hop. She plays Frankie, which is she's kind of the leader of the four of them. She is such a strong presence. She's so great to work with. And she's so warm. She's so genuine. Like, even backstage, she's just such a pleasant person to be around. And it fuels me to be a better man, like to be kinder and gentler sometimes, because, every once in a while you can get frustrated. So she really stays grounded, and it's fantastic just feeding off her energy. And then new to the cast is Dee Dee Gibson. She's out of LA. She is performing Tashawn, or TT. And she joined us halfway through this run when we were going out to Detroit, and stepped in with 1 day of rehearsal, had 5 days, I think, or so with the script to just learn the lines and watch an old video. And she is crushing it. She is amazing, like super great energy, great to be around. And I'm blessed to have worked with this cast, the cast in the past. I like every woman who stepped into these roles has been a powerhouse, and I'm learning so much, and I'm growing, and I'm giving, and each time we're just finding something new. Couldn't be happier.
It sounds like a really amazing experience with great energy, which is really, really hard to find. It's very rare to get everybody all on the same wavelength and just enjoying the experience and being so grateful in the moment. Is there anything like what do you guys do? Because I mean, we're all human. So people come in, they've got to come in and have like a rough day because you guys are touring. So this isn't like you're filming the movie, the sequel, or anything like that, and where you're coming in on set and you have multiple takes. You don't.
Nope.
This is live theater. So are there any tricks or anything that, maybe you guys do to uplift each other in those moments?
God, we just lean on each other. If someone's having a tough day, the rest of the cast supports them and lifts them up and says, "Hey, look, we're out there together. We're there for you. If anything happens, we've got your back." It's happened. It's live theater. Mistakes happen.
Right.
They're bound to happen. People drop lines. People lose their place. But we're professionals. Everyone that steps foot on that stage is a professional and knows what they're doing and can easily jump in and save a scene, and pick it back up, and get it right back to where we needed to be. So if anyone's having a rough day, or if someone's coming in a little tired, I mean, we fly the same day we perform sometimes. Mm-hmm. So it's really like, get your coffee, get together, have a couple laughs before the show, breathe, relax, do what you need to do, listen to music, meditate. But when it's showtime, we all know that when we step on that stage and anything goes wrong, someone else is there with us to make sure it gets right. And that's the best thing about it, is that camaraderie, the fact that you never feel left alone, and no matter what, you're going to be picked up if you fall.
Oh, that is so important. It's so hard to find an entire cast that can carry one another. Mm-hmm. It's quite a skill, I've noticed, to be able to not only know your craft, hone your craft, control it, but to be able to carry your partner if you need to, and to have an entire cast that can do that. I get you. I get where you're saying that you're so blessed, because you really are. Take us through the journey that you've gone so far. How many different locations have you performed? What has the ride been like?
Well, since 2018, it's been a long ride. It's been a great ride. We have done, probably over 30, but definitely over 20 cities. Some of them we've gone back to multiple times. Like, we've done Atlanta twice. We did DC 3 times. We've done Houston twice, LA twice, Detroit twice. We've done Cleveland, Virginia. We're going to Connecticut and Philly. That's the next stops on our tour. We did New York. We did Dallas. We did Oakland. God, I know I'm missing some somewhere, but I mean, we've been all over. New Orleans. We did New Orleans to kick this off. I'm hoping we do more. I don't know that it's going to happen, but fingers crossed this comes back again. But yeah, we've been all over the country, seeing people from all walks of life. Chicago was amazing. And the coolest thing is, after the show, especially, before COVID happened, but even now with my mask on, I can still go out and talk with people and meet people that came to see the show and get their take on it and see what they thought and how they feel about, the tweaks and the changes and the way it fits into today's society. And what's great is the feedback is overwhelming. I mean, I play the guy everyone loves to hate for so long in the show until the very end, and then I have a little redemption, and then just speaking with people outside, you start to realize how important it is and how much weight it holds to show that growth and to show, like, hey, we can evolve as people. And right. I love nothing more than going out and talking with the audience, because you just hear so much that I would never notice, because I'm up there, I'm in the scenes, and when I'm not in a scene, I'm usually getting ready for the next scene or changing wardrobe or something. So I don't get to see everything, I don't get to hear everything, but I get to hear it from the audience. And they teach me every time, and it's incredible.
I love that. We have a viewer saying, had the privilege to see the show twice. This is from Steffi Fennerty.
Yeah, that's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Congrats to the cast and crew. You rock. And then I have another person in here that has a question. Michael Schwartz is saying, are you coming to Oregon? So I know that you have, so let's see, you're next going to Connecticut and then 2 more shows in Philadelphia.
Yep.
if there's some desire for maybe somebody, to bring you guys to Oregon, can they go to the website? Who could they contact to say, we want you here, keep you guys going?
Unfortunately, that's out of my hands, or we'd be everywhere. But you could go to Jakarius's Instagram. He's always on there checking messages and looking at comments and everything. And you can always just say, "Hey, we're really interested in the show here." I'm sure he'll look into it for the future. This is a tricky show. We've been doing it for so long, and I think for now, after this tour, it's going to take a little hiatus, and then who knows? Hopefully, in a year or two, we'll bring it back. We were in the middle of this tour when the pandemic hit. So this is the second half of that tour, and the closest we've gotten to Oregon was Oakland this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to get up to Oregon. It's one of 9 states I have not visited yet. So,
really?
Michael, my fingers are crossed with you, buddy. Hopefully we'll get up there.
Yes, hopefully. Okay, so I have so many different questions. My goodness.
Sure.
Out of all the places that you've played so far, what has been your favorite venue? And then what's your favorite audience?
Ooh. Okay, so venues, tough. There's been some beautiful venues. Honestly, Oakland was stunning. I've never seen a theater like it. I think it was 3,000 seats, beautiful carved walls that were just like 4 stories high. And the King's Theater in Brooklyn is unbelievable. If you've never seen it, it's an old, I believe it's an old opera house. So it doesn't have like the tiered seating. It's basically straight back as far as you can see, and then one small balcony. But it is just absolutely gorgeous. My favorite audiences, I lean towards LA and New York, mostly because they're theater audiences, so they're so invested, they're listening, they're present, and there's a lot to feed off with that energy as an actor. You can feel when the audience is there with you. But I gotta give a shout out to Detroit and Cleveland, honestly. They were so intense and so loud, which is a whole different aspect of theater than what I'm used to doing, straight plays in New York and everything. It gives you this kind of internal chaos of like there's all this stuff going on, and you just feed into it and you let the show flow in its own way. And Detroit especially, their energy was just through the roof, and it was so great to see people turn out, sold out shows every time we've been there, which was really, really cool.
Oh man, talk about blessings. That's huge to have a sold out show. I have a couple of people. This is a very interactive show tonight. Thank you guys so much for commenting and for following along. So Dana is saying, so glad we got to see Michael and crew. Great show in LA. And then we have Jeff Sprav, and he saw the show in Atlanta. It was wonderful. I'd love for you guys to come back to Atlanta. I do have a question. Since you said that the show started in 2018, so the theater performances in 2018, and then you went through 2020. Did you have to cease your shows? I'm assuming so, since it's live.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did the first tour in 2018. The tour ran its course, took a break. They did some recasting. We came back. We started again. And there's my sister. What's up, Steve? And then as we were doing, we started we did like a short piece of the tour, then took a little break for the holidays, and then picked it back up. And then 2020 hit, and we were actually in New Orleans about, it was noon that day. We were going to do an 8 o'clock show, and we get a call that just says, guess what, guys? Theater's closed, mandates, you're going home tomorrow. That's it. And we had no idea if we were coming back out, how long it was going to last. Just like the rest of the world, we shut down, and we were just like, okay, well, now what? So we waited and we waited and we waited, and I picked up odd jobs and did some other work and booked a couple projects, shot some of my own stuff as things went on, and then I got that wonderful call that said, "Hey, we're going back. Are you ready to come back? Can you do it?" And I said, "Absolutely. I wouldn't miss this for the world. I love playing this role. I love what I've been able to do with this role and make it my own." And it was the rest of the tour, and we picked up right in New Orleans, which is where we left off, and it was just like. It was so funny. We went back to lunch at the same restaurant, and it was almost like resetting the timeline and just going right back into it. And we've been going since nonstop, and it has been a blast.
So how did you keep yourself fresh? Did you notice any rustiness after such a long hiatus?
I felt good, actually. I read through the script one more time, and I realized, like, okay, it's still all in here. I've done it a bunch of times, so I would just, day by day, kind of run the lines in my head, get going, and then we had about 6 days of rehearsal before we went back out and actually did a live performance, and it was, that was the big key: is getting back on your feet, going through the things, going through the motions and the scenes, making sure everything still works the way it worked. If anything needed to be tweaked, tweaking it. I found new little character things that I didn't even notice the last time because I've grown as a person. So I was able to dive deeper and find more moments and more subtlety and say, okay, well, I missed this last time. Let me make sure I bring this in this time. And I think the break did me a lot of good because I was able to focus on mental health, physical health, getting rest, because this industry it's difficult. It's tough. You're constantly moving and going, and we don't sleep a lot sometimes. So it was nice to kind of let the body rest, let the mind rest, and then come back with fresh eyes. A little bit of rust, maybe a hair, had to knock it off the shoulder a bit. But other than that, absolutely, from like the first step, I was like, yep, I know where I'm going.
So what about your marks on stage? Once you came back and, were under some guidelines for a while, in rehearsals and things, was it difficult to continue to make the same connections in rehearsals with, I'm assuming you guys are spread out a little bit more? Like, how did it change the set?
That's a great question. It was interesting because, we're sort of in this gray area with the pandemic now, where it's like some places have mandates, some places don't, some let you be a little closer, some say no, 6 feet all the time. What was interesting about the rehearsal process this time was we were still wearing our masks, and so the close scenes, we were still getting fairly close, but we back off a little bit. Like, there's a scene where Cleo and I in the interrogation are right here with each other, and for rehearsals we said, okay, well, we don't need to risk it. Let's keep a little bit of a distance, but we'll work through it, and we know where we need to be because we've done the show. But for some of the intimate moments, you don't have a choice. Right. You have to work through the physicality, the blocking, and there's parts where people are holding other people as they are on stage with a bullet wound or something, or they're dancing up on the balcony for this intimate moment. You can't fake those things and just say, oh, day of we'll make it work. Right. So a lot of masks stayed on, some full face shields sometimes, depending on people's comfort, and we just worked through it. And then when it came showtime, we get our tests every time we tour, every day, every city. We're getting tested and making sure everyone's good, and then we know, okay, everyone back here is safe. We're distanced enough from the audience. Let's go out and do the show, and then tomorrow we'll start again and we'll make sure everyone's good. But it's a very different world now.
Oh, I bet. I can only imagine. I have not been live on stage since, everything had happened. My goodness. It's a marvel to start something before such a large impact. And, of course, nobody ever saw this coming. And it's changed the acting world and the film world and the theater world, especially so much. Did you notice a difference in the capacity of the audience?
It's interesting. I noticed that some people were definitely hesitant. They kept their masks on, full face shields, and some people were like, forget it, we're here. we're already this close to everyone. Like, let's just go. Let's just have fun. And you saw some people just throw caution to the wind, and other people come in like, almost in like hazmat suits. And different cities, different theaters have different mandates. So, like Oakland, very strict. You have to show your vaccination card. California, all of it. You got to show your vaccination card to get in anywhere. Bars, restaurants, theaters, etc. It's pretty intense. And then, like Dallas, we were just walking around like it was nothing. Nobody seemed to worry about anything. So
it's quite interesting how it is so different. I mean, almost polarizingly different from state to state.
Yes.
And that's.
I hate to do this in an interview. My battery just went low. Let me plug in real quick.
Oh, sure, of course.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was plugged in.
Oh, it's okay. All right. So we are talking with Michael Finn. Michael Finn is one of the stars in Jacarius Johnson. He's presenting Set It Off, which is the based on the iconic movie by the same name, Set It Off. And that came out in the 90s. So now they're touring again. They started in 2018. They took a hiatus in 2020, and we're back in 2021. one. And you are next going to Connecticut. And what is the date for the Connecticut show? I believe I have it loaded in here, but tell us about it.
So we're going to the Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut this Friday, November 26th. And then we will be at the Met in Philadelphia on the 27th for 2 shows at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. That is actually the end of our tour, which is kind of heartbreaking. But if we're going to do it, and it's not LA or New York, Philly's probably a great city to end in. I love Philadelphia. You know, I grew up in New Jersey. I used to go to Philly and New York all the time. But yeah, this is the tail end of the tour. It's been super exciting. I mean, I've put so much of my time and energy into this. It's hard to let it go, but it also now allows me to pursue other endeavors, which is awesome. But yeah, Connecticut Friday, Philly Saturday, and then coming home.
You know, a lot of times at the end of a production, a long production like this, in that last show, there can be little Easter eggs. There can be little surprises. There can be little hidden things. And a lot of times it's showing love for the people that love what you do, showing love to your other castmates and putting, you know, like I said, little Easter eggs and stuff. Do you think that maybe on those last shows there will be some of that?
I can almost guarantee it. When we wrapped the first tour, our last night show in DC, we had a few little Easter eggs for each other and a couple little inside jokes that we got to work out on stage. I mean, after 3 years of it, I'm sure more than anything, someone's going to throw a little line here, sneak a little something there, or bring a prop out that's not normally there, do a little ad lib. The nice thing about this show is that the script it's very tight, it's very well done, but there is room to play. Not as much for me as a cop, like it's a little more by the book, but the girls, you know, they have these moments where little things come out and then you find a new moment and you ad lib a line and then you realize, oh, that line really works, let's stick with it. And so the script itself has evolved like that. So Easter eggs have become kind of the norm. So I'm very interested to see what Saturday night in Philly has, because I'm 100% sure that something new will happen.
That is absolutely awesome. So if you want to catch a show and you're in Connecticut or you're near Philadelphia by the end of the month, go to Ticketmaster at ticketmaster.com. You can look up, it's under Jacarius Johnson's Set It Off, and you'll be able to find your tickets there and purchase your tickets. So you also have a lot of other things in the works, and I was wondering if you have a few extra minutes for me. I'd love to talk about what you have coming into production. You have some stuff in pre-production, and I believe you have one of them that's very, very close to being released. Is that right?
We're getting there. We're still in pre-production, but we're getting close to filming, which means we're not too far off. And now that I'm plugged in, I've got all the time in the world. So
Great.
yeah, we're super excited. I've been doing a lot of writing in the, you know, the pandemic time and the downtime, if you will. A lot of creativity, a lot of new story ideas. I've got 2 feature film scripts in the work, about 5 short films that I'm working on. But Jeff Sprov, who is in the house, I saw his comment, he and I wrote a short film called The Overture, which deals with mental health. And it's something that I personally have dealt with most of my life. And I had a hard time admitting it for a long time. Still, sometimes it's difficult to talk about, but I'm becoming more comfortable with it and more open with it. And I feel like it's something that has become so taboo, something that society really doesn't want to mention or talk about or bring to the forefront. So Jeff and I have created this short script that we think it's sort of a new way of looking at it. You know, it's this new twist on, it's not just like, oh, here's a sad story, let's talk about mental health, or oh, here's something with violence, let's talk about mental health. It's more about like the person and the struggle and how it affects you on a day-to-day basis and what you can do to help yourself, you know, and to say you need help. Because so many people think, you know, especially, you know, we live in a patriarchy and men are taught, you know, suppress your emotions, be a man, be tough, toughen up, stand up straight, all that stuff, where it's like you get this idea ingrained into you when you're young that in order to be a man, you have to be this rock. And we're human. We all have emotions, whether we want to admit it or not. We have these moments that hurt, that bring us joy, that bring us sorrow, that, you know, you lose a loved one, it kills you inside, and we don't talk about it. We don't express it. We just, okay, well, let's get the job done and move on.
Yeah.
And to me, that's so unhealthy. So I struggled with it for a long time. I suppressed a lot when I was younger. I tried doing a lot of writing, but I never showed anyone. So it didn't really release what I needed it to release. So we've come to this point where we found this new way to kind of say, hey, look, mental health is important. Mental health is a serious issue, but it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to have feelings and emotions and not know what to do with them, but express them. Find a way to use them, to express them, someone to talk to, whether it's your best friend, whether it's a therapist, whether you journal. Find a way that works for you, that allows you to grow and to heal, so that you can become and constantly be the best version of yourself. And we'll never be that by being a stone that you can't squeeze blood from. It's impossible.
I think you're absolutely right. And, this is something that I love that you're touching on it in your film and in your work with your partner, because it needs to have that spotlight, and it needs to touch the females out there. It needs to get to people like myself so that we can begin to understand. And you're right, you're not animatronic. You have feelings, but there's a lot of things that I think we're missing. Everything's so focused on women's health and women's state of mind and understanding when women are going through hormonal changes and things like that. But we're not the only ones. Hormones make up the human body to a huge degree, and that affects you guys too. So I would love to also see not only mental health, but just getting guys into that rhythm of going for checkups, checking your hormones. Like, how important is that?
Well, I think too, it's if you look at the majority of violence that the news covers, or that, and I don't want to get political, it's not what this is about, but like the majority of stuff is by men, and the majority of like change that actually happens is women, because they're in touch with these things. They're able to express and move and be free. And we feel like we have to constantly prove ourselves and be a man, and it's difficult when you do that. And as artists, especially as men, as artists, but as artists in general, we bare our souls. We put ourselves out there and show our emotions and open ourselves to the world. And that's difficult, especially when you face rejection on a daily basis with auditions, and everything. You get 100 no's before a yes in general. So it's hard for us to be okay and say, oh, this is normal. I can deal with this, when society for so long has been like, the man provides, the man is strong, the man does this. So I love that, yes, there's a lot of talk about, women's hormonal health, and I think men do need to get checked. I think we do need to be more aware of who we are and open up to the fact that we're all connected, we're all human, we're all living in this energy together, this world together, and like just be nicer to each other. Like, it's not hard. That's why I have this Grateful Always hat. And my buddy Steve, who plays Luther in Set It Off, his friend makes these in Texas, and he gave me this. And I wear it all the time because it's a constant reminder to be grateful for what I have, to be grateful for the journey I'm on. And as frustrated as I may be sometimes that, I'm not Brad Pitt making millions and millions of dollars, I'm on my journey, right? I need to learn what I need to learn. I don't need to learn what Brad needs to learn. It's awesome. I'm super proud of him. He's a nice guy. Kudos to Brad. Right. But I have to do what's for me. And that's not for me. Yeah. So, I have to constantly remind myself, like, be grateful, stay humble, keep striving, and just really focus on what's important to you. We also live in an age where we're so connected with, these things and whatnot. And, we don't really talk. We don't sit down and have conversations. Like, I love nothing more than getting together with my friends for lunch or dinner and actually having conversation and checking in and seeing how people are doing. But we don't do that enough. We feel like we're connected, but we're so not. Like, these things do not connect us. They actually distract us. And you get that little, bit of dopamine when you get those likes and whatever. And I put social media aside, and I'm healthier for it. And I love conversations and people. And I love being around that kind of thing where we can just be alive.
Absolutely. There's depth to it. There's richness to it. We learn from each other. Just being in the same room with other energy. That's what keeps you alive. They all talk about, and I've heard many, many stories of this. It's very sad, but children that are in orphanages, that if they're not held and they don't have just the simplest things of touch, that their health will deteriorate to a point to which they can die. So it's very important that we're in the same space with each other and we shut the screens off, get away from the screens. Like
Yeah.
when I go out, when very,
Go hug someone.
yes,
6 hugs a day. Get 6 hugs a day, and I guarantee you.
oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But how many times have we been in the restaurant where there's a couple sitting there for dinner and they're both staring at their phones? It's like, what are you doing? Why are you even here? Because you're not. Like, you're totally removed from reality at the moment because you're in your sub-reality, your fantasy land.
It's fascinating too. Like I'm doing the show, obviously. I've been to a bunch of concerts, a bunch of outdoor like stand-up stuff in New York and everything, and everyone is watching the show like this and taping the show, and it's like you're not experiencing it if you're watching it through this thing. Like, just be here. It's okay. You want to take 1 or 2 photos. Like I'm a photographer as well, and I love my photography. So if I go to a concert, or whatever, I'll take the phone out, snap a couple photos, but then I'm going to put it in my pocket and enjoy the show. It's knowing the balance. It's knowing how to put that away. And I challenge everyone who's watching this, 1 hour a day, turn your phone off, put it to the side. Look, nothing that drastic is going to happen in that hour. The chances of that are so slim that an hour is not going to kill you. So put it down, relax, breathe, meditate.
So I'd love to peel the onion with you for
sure. Yeah, let's go.
All right. So you're speaking about mental health and men's mental health. Something really resonates inside of me, but I don't know the answer to it. And you know how there's a lot of things where a man will open a door for a woman and the women try to rush through and they don't say thank you, or they rush ahead and they open the door for themselves. And that's not me. I'm not into that. I like a man to be allowed to be a gentleman.
Right.
And so what I've always thought about is the gumption and the courage it takes to walk up to a woman and ask her if you can get her a drink. Ask her, would you like to have dinner with me? What does it do to a man when a woman is rude in response?
Wow. It's not easy to swallow. It's really not. I'm not one to ask a ton of people out. I'm very, very selective. I know that. I always have been. This mustache doesn't help. I'll say that much. Just kidding. But that's tough because you as a man, speaking for myself, it takes a bit of courage to walk up to someone you don't know and say, hey, there might be something here. Who knows? But let me at least try to make this connection, like a real human connection. And for someone to turn around and shoot that down, whether it's when it's polite, it's rough. But when it's rude, it's sometimes easier because then you're like, oh, good, I dodged a bullet. But when people are polite and say, oh, no, thank you, you seem like a nice guy, it's tough. It's hard to swallow sometimes because it's very vulnerable to put yourself out and say, hey, I might be interested in getting to know you as a human being and spending time with you and seeing what you're all about. And I'm putting myself out there to say, yes, I find you attractive. Yes, I find you interesting. And I'd like to learn more. It's not like I can just pick up a book and say, oh, Elizabeth, okay, got everything I need to know. Great. Now we can talk. It's starting from scratch, and you know nothing about someone, and you're literally putting everything you have out there and saying, hey, would you like to learn about this? And then someone says, no. And you're just like, oh, well, what's wrong with this then? Right. And it's gut-wrenching sometimes. Sometimes, some people, they don't care. I had a buddy, God bless his soul, he would talk to anyone. He goes, I have no shame. And he would just go over and he goes, no, they said no. Okay. And he would just keep going like that. And there's a certain confidence about that. And there's a certain there's a certain quality that I don't have with that. But I have a hard time with it. I think it goes back years to being an artist and being a shy kid growing up and being, a human being who couldn't understand what it meant to be emotional as a young man, to put myself there and open myself and then have that self be not interesting to someone is difficult. But the flip side is we're never going to be for everyone.
Right.
I have to understand that, so the best thing to do is pick yourself up, move on to the next thing, and try not to stew on it, try not to mull it over forever. It's just, okay, that didn't work, but I tried. Now let me see, you got to think that wasn't the right fit for me. There's a reason that connection didn't happen. And I didn't realize that at a young age. It took me a lot of years to get to that point. So now it's a lot. I'm not saying rejection's easy, but it's easier for me to approach people because I'm also a lot more confident in who I am. I've done a lot of self-care, a lot of work on myself, knowing what I want, who I am, what my desires are, what my passions are, what my dreams are, where I want to be in the next 2, 5, 10 years, like what my goals in life are. And yes, those goals include meeting someone, but that's not the primary anymore. I don't focus on finding someone who has to complete me because I'm a whole human being. I'm complete by myself. Now I want someone who complements me, who fits by my side, who wants to do and is interested in things that I'm interested in and I can share time with, like my best friend, who I also happen to be in love with. That's ideal. But that's because I've grown to know what this vessel is, what this being is, and I'm in love with this, and now I can be in love with something else.
I love that. I had recently heard, and I can't remember the speaker at the time, but they said, young men, unless you've built your castle, meaning you have your foundation, not only are you financially, but you're emotionally ready and confident, you set your sights, you know where you're going. Only at that point in time should you go search for a queen for your castle.
Yep.
And it's just not, at least in the American society, we send the debutantes out so early. They're 15, 16 years old, and the young men are supposed to follow suit, and then they start dating. And it's like, no, you're setting yourself up for heartache. Like, not the way about it. And I love, we have some viewers here. Jeff Jones says, great advice. I agree with him. This is great advice. I really wanted to approach that with you since our conversation has gone there, because I think there are so many women, and I mean, to a degree with me as well, where we're used to the man approaching us. And I think as much as those women, they want to open the doors for themselves and they want to get out of their own car, and I don't need a man for this. But yet they still either want the text message or they want him to approach her somewhere out and about or at the bar, buy her a drink. They still want that, but they want their cake and eat it too. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. If I was a guy, I probably at 44 years old would have dated maybe 2 people. There's only 2 guys that I have ever asked out, ever, because I was just so compelled by the match, the energy, right? I can't even imagine how hard it is. So I wanted to
I'd like to talk on, Ken Dodge said, rejecting is devastating to some men because some of them are doing everything they can just to get up the courage to even walk up to women. And that is so true. There are so many people who are so reserved, so shy. When they put themselves out there, it's a momentous occasion. It's a huge deal. For someone like me who's a little more open and expressive, it's gotten easier. And some people, they do it like it's nothing. But there are people out there. So like, again, it goes back to just be kind to each other. Like, even if you're not interested, even if there's no connection, or you're just, you're out with your friends, be polite. Sometimes it's harder to swallow for me, but just be nice about it. Don't be mean. Someone has really worked up the courage to say, hey, I think you're interesting.
Right.
take that as a compliment, no matter what. Like, I don't, whatever mood you're in. Like, I saw someone in Dallas. I was at a coffee shop doing some writing and hanging out, and this lady came in and she was talking to this table, and that, you know, they knew each other from wherever, and she had this gorgeous smile. I have no idea who this woman is. She's by herself, whatever. She goes out, sits outside. She's working on her thing. I get up to leave after like 45 minutes. I'm done typing. I got to go to the theater, and she's still outside. And I just stopped. I said, you know what? I don't live in Dallas. I'm going to tell you anyway. You have a gorgeous smile. I hope you have a wonderful day. Nothing. No qualms about it. No like pressure. No anything. Because I probably never see her again. But I could tell it made her day. And I wish that more people could do stuff like that. I wish that more people could just say, hey, you know what? You're doing awesome today. Or you're doing something that I couldn't do. Or I'm inspired by you. Like, text people. Tell them what you mean to them and what they mean to you. And, you know, really stay connected. We've talked about it already, but like, really, like, lift each other up. I can't say it enough. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like every 3 months, I text my best friends and I just say, hey guys, just want to let you know, you still inspire me. This is what you did that I love. I saw you do this a few months ago and I didn't comment, but I'm proud of you. Like, whatever it is, just so they know, like, hey, I'm in your corner. I'm rooting for you. I want you to succeed, rather than like pulling you down the ladder with me or with whoever. You know, we all gotta just climb. We could be so great. We really can.
I agree with you. I think it's so much easier, so much rewarding to be each other's cheerleader, because at the end of the day, you know, when I was first in the business, and this gentleman, I'm not going to name his name, but he is well known in the industry. It was a great connection for me to make. And I took a lot of his advice until he said, find out who your competition is. And I'm like, what? Nope, I don't have competition. There's nobody like me. Nobody can do me. And oh, he fought it and fought it. He's like, no, like, Liz, what are you, crazy? No, find your competition, like follow your competition. I'm like, but you can't lead when you're following.
Right.
So we need to be each other's cheerleader, because I could be friends with somebody, and I am friends with many people that look exactly like me, that's my same age, that's booking the same type of roles.
Yep.
But you know what? We're not, if I didn't get it, then I'm not born for it. She is. And like, that's amazing. That's huge. So just be each other's cheerleader.
Yeah.
So,
they say the biggest competition is the person you see in the mirror.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I believe in that, because it's true. Like, I go out for the same roles as some of my friends. What's for them is for them. What's for me is for me. Right. The only person I can be better than is myself. Right. I'm never going to do Tom Cruise the way Tom Cruise does Tom Cruise.
No.
Impossible. But no one's going to do this the way I can. Right. We are all unique, beautiful snowflakes. I know, you know, people hate that phrase, but
it's true.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I would love to play a game with you. Let's
games.
Before we end. Okay. We were going to do one game, but I think now that we started talking about relationships and getting up the courage to just be kind to each other, I want to know your priorities. So I have a game called Priorities. It's the party game of absurd choices. And so it's available on Amazon now. You can still get it through Amazon Prime, and it can be a great Christmas gift for somebody. So I have all these cards here. And, you know, of course, to play the tabletop game, like it comes with a little whiteboard and a marker, and there's like different country cards. But what I've been doing on the show is I'll pick 3 cards for you, and then you're supposed to prioritize them. So number 1 is something like that's number 1 in your life, and number 3 is the least. Okay, so first, most to least, and
this is going to be very interesting.
It is. And then I'll close my eyes and pick 3 cards. And I've played this a few times, but I have not gotten through all the cards, so I don't know what's here. So you want to go first?
Yeah, let's go. Let's see what happens.
Priorities. Let's see. So we have, those are our cards. We have constipation.
All right, that's probably number 3.
Spontaneity.
Okay.
Cheese.
Well, yeah, constipation is definitely number 3. It goes hand in hand with number 2. I'm going to say spontaneity is number 1. Okay. I love, and I've always, since I was younger, I love flying by the seat of my pants. I love being able to get up and go. Like I've done random whim vacations where I just go. Like I found $20 in Canadian in my pocket once when I was living in New Jersey, and I turned to my friend and said, "Come on, get in the car," and we went up to Canada for 3 days.
What?
Like I love being able to just have that flexibility and be able to just like experience life. So spontaneity to me is huge. I do love cheese. I'm a huge meat and cheese fan, charcuterie, love it. I'm a huge foodie, and I worked in restaurants for a long time, and so cheese will be number 2. Constipation, I could care less about.
Yeah.
We never need it. It's never fun.
No.
So
never. Never, ever, ever. Okay, so I have cards here. So close my eyes. You can see the cards. I'm gonna randomly pick 1, 2, 3. All right, let's see what they are. I'm gonna hold them up here. What did I get?
Worse than I do.
Oh my gosh, what in the world did I get? Read them to me.
You have immigrants, Donald Trump, and loud Balenciaga sneakers.
Well, sneakers.
Yeah. I don't envy you right now.
Well, I mean, no. Okay, no. This is terrible. It's a horrible game, Michael, that you're making me play.
Nothing to do with this. I'll tell you what. I'll let you put one of those back. Okay. Don't put the sneakers back, though. You know you need those.
Okay, what is this one?
You put the sneakers back?
No. Oh, I did? No, yeah. I thought I put the Donald Trump one back.
No, you put sneakers back. I was like, what? Sharing feelings.
Sharing feelings.
Sharing feelings, immigrants, loud Balenciaga sneakers.
I don't even know what a Balenciaga sneaker is. So I'm going to
look it up for you real quick.
Is it one of those like weird, really thick-soled ones that my college kid is walking? Like they're riser sneakers. I don't even know why she's wearing them. She's not short.
Oh, I don't know what these. I mean, they're not. They're just runner shoes.
They're runner shoes?
Yeah.
All right. Then
they're actually not bad.
But they're loud.
I mean,
they're loud. They're embarrassing then if they're loud.
I get. Well, maybe they squeak a lot. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
They're not the worst shoe I've ever seen.
I'm going to take them. This is number 3.
Oh, here you go.
Loud sneakers. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Okay.
Number 2 would be sharing feelings. And immigrants I'll take for number 1. Okay. All right. Man.
Yeah, that was tough.
All right. All right. I'm actually, let's see. I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to pick your cards.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Let's see. Let's see if we can get it. Ooh. So excited. All right. Priorities.
Man buns, crying, and noisy kids.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. This is easier than you think it is for me. Man buns can go. Man buns is number 3. Man buns are gone. I'm kind of jealous of anyone who has one, so they're not a priority for me.
Okay.
Noisy kids would be number 2. I don't have any of my own, so I can't put them first. I do love my nieces. Hey guys, if you're watching. But for me, again, going back to being a strong man, I think crying is important. I think it's one of the most important things a man can do is allow his emotions out. So I would put that number 1.
I think so too. All right, I'm going to grab a new deck. You want to do one more?
Sure.
All right, let's see.
This game's kind of cool. I like it.
It is pretty cool, and it works really well on a talk show format like this.
Yeah.
All right. Whoa, there's my 3rd card. Oh, boy.
All right, we've got whistling, wokeness, and reclining your seat back on a plane.
Ooh.
I've done a lot of traveling lately. I can tell you that last one's pretty important.
Reclining your seat back on a plane, I'm going to have to take for number 1, even though it only reclines about that much. Mm-hmm. Like, that's all that you get. And you press
makes a difference.
You go back and you're like, oh, it's like, no, there is no, oh, and that, like, no. But yeah, okay. Reclining your seat back on a plane, whistling, and then wokeness. Yeah, that's going to be my third. That was a whole lot of fun. You got to go get some priorities. The game.
That's great. I love it. I'm a big board game fan too. I play a ton, so I know I might not look like it. It's not true. I do look like it. I'm a total nerd when it comes to board games.
Well, you have some of your family members watching. The girls
Yeah,
say, hi, Uncle Mike. That's from
those are my nieces. Hi guys, love you.
Aw. So do you play board games for Thanksgiving? Like, do you get a chance to sit down, or are you the cooker?
This year I'm the nothing. I won't be there because I'll be traveling.
True.
But I like to cook. I actually do enjoy cooking, but usually because it's, you know, my sister's got her kids and then my parents have their house or whatever. If I'm there, I usually assist, but I'm not in charge of cooking. I'll play games with the kids all day. We do that at Christmas a lot. We'll play a lot of board games and cards and whatnot. My littlest niece crushes us at Uno all the time.
Really?
I don't know how. She's just like a whiz kid with these numbers, and she's just like, look, Uno, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, I've got 9 cards, and she'll just draw 4s on you when you're not looking. It's amazing. But yeah, I love playing games with them. And we got them. Did you ever hear of Pie in the Face?
Yeah.
We got them that one year, and nothing is better than seeing your own mom hit with whipped cream in the face by herself. Sorry, Mom, but that was awesome.
Oh my gosh. Well, people love you. I have Ken Dodge saying, I
Ken.
really like this guy. People just absolutely love you. Everybody stayed connected pretty much throughout the entire broadcast. And we have been on for an hour. I cannot believe you've had an hour of your time for me. I feel very, very fortunate, very lucky to be able to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for telling us all about the projects that you're working on, and everybody go catch the play Set It Off. It is in Connecticut. What are the dates for Connecticut? Oh, I have it right here. November 26th.
Yep. November 26th at 8 p.m. Yep.
In Ledyard. Is that how you say it? Ledyard, Connecticut?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pronounced Ledard, but I could be wrong. This is my first time going there, so.
All right. And then you are at the Met Philadelphia in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that is for 2 shows on November 27th, one at 4 p.m. and another one at 8 p.m. So if you're in the area, guys, and you want to catch the show, which I highly recommend, Michael highly recommends that you do as well, go to Ticketmaster and get your tickets today. Michael, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. It was
really fun.
Yeah, this was a blast. I'm so glad you reached out and we got to do this. And thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. And have an amazing, amazing day.
Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
Yes, of course. You're welcome. Bye. Oh my goodness, what a great show. I love doing what we do. You know, it's such an absolute fortune and privilege to be able to love doing what you do. And guys, thank you so much for being so interactive and watching and following and asking your questions. It makes it such a great show. So I want to say happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at Cooper Studios. And as always, we are blessed. You are blessed. And I love you. Have a wonderful